Hey guys, welcome back inside the stash. So it's been a little while since we've done one of these videos. Sort of for take a look at things that have come in and have discussions about what's going on around here. Um, so as many of you realize, we haven't put out a video this month other than the what to expect in November video because we have once again, and why not really? Because I mean, if you've been following this channel, this is a regular occurrence. Changed jobs again. Without going into a 20-minute diatribe about how I feel about unions and the way things are run with them, I would just say that um, the entire part of the union thing is really not the issue, although an underlying cause it was. However, it mostly had to do with the fact that I was lied to effectively to have me come through the door and be employed there in terms of what I would be doing, how often I would be doing it, and what other work would be required. It was optionally available to me to make up the time. Basically, I was told that I'd be driving several days a week, and I could make up time in the warehouse doing sort of manual labor, as it were, sorting and basically the oversized stuff that comes through the system, anything that weighs more than 50 pounds, basically. And, if you know anything about driving, commercial driving as a job, you usually work 12-hour days at least. So, was basically being promised 24 to 36 hours a week minimum driving, and then I could make up the rest of my guaranteed 40 hours by working inside. And what the reality of it came out to be was I was working maybe one day a week and expected to show up and work manual labor in the warehouse the other 4 days, which had there been some sort of option for overtime, may not have been necessarily the worst thing in the world, but I took a pay cut to go to this position, and without being able to make the overtime that I would make as a driver, combined with the fact that I was not hired to do manual labor, I was hired to drive a truck. I could do it if I needed to. Just it became an untenable financial mess. It really came a position where the bills were behind. My pickup came to the point where it almost, came within like days of being repossessed, to be perfectly honest. And it was just not a situation that was, you know, a, a something I could do. It was I kept getting it's going to pick up, but it never did. Now, of course, it will pick up with the Christmas holidays involved. However, once first couple weeks of January go by, because a lot of people don't realize the Christmas season, as it is these days, goes well past Christmas at this point, because everybody tends to get gift certificates and things like that for their Christmas presents. So there is a lot of shopping that goes on post Christmas that would go through a shipping system as well. And but once that Christmas rush died down after say January 15th, then it would be a very slow period of the year, and I would probably not be driving at all. Working in the warehouse was getting to be a problem with my shoulder, and it was just, like I said, just not a tenable position really to deal with. And then on top of that, with the various nonsensical horse shit that went on with the union and the voting for the new contract and everything else, our pay raises are currently, to this day, even after I've left, they still owe me quite a bit of money in retroactive pay rate, because the contract expired in the end of July, and I worked there through the beginning of November, and all of those hours that I worked should have been paid at the new higher rate, but weren't, because the contract was held up first in its initial voting, and now it's being held up by various local union issues. So, like I said, they'll still owe me several hundred to maybe close to $1,000 in back pay. That hopefully we'll get at some point in time, but nobody really knows when. And the promised pay raise that was coming with that new contract was stuck in limbo. So it just became a quick, very quick, very apparent that it was not a situation for me. If it was a situation where I think if you worked inside and your career from like the time you were, say, like 20 was working there, it probably would have worked out for you because of the seniority you would carry. But coming from the outside in, and it was just ridiculous. That's basically what it comes down to. So the things I want to show you are not particularly new. They're not, anything that's like super fresh, as it were, in terms of releases. This is all stuff that I would have ordered over the summer before it became readily apparent how awful this was going to be for us as a family. Because when it comes right down to it, yeah, I have a lot of stuff, but I don't order beyond, my budget. And so became very quickly that the hobby had no budget whatsoever. Um, so even all of the stuff that I'm going to show you, it was shipped in chunks, like a little $10, $11 boxes, and using the slow shipping method possible, because I couldn't afford to ship it all in one box, even if I wanted to. So there's that. So like I said, there's not very much anything in here that's really, really particularly new, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. And then I guess we'll go from there. We're working over the road now, which is going back to the company I worked at several times in the past. Been the place that I've sort of been home more often than not, in terms of just general working. And hopefully things will work out. The bills, I've been there for 3 weeks now, and my bills are pretty much right at the edge of being caught back up. Basically, once the bills cycle through for December, we'll be back on track. And that just, to me, shows even how much more of a complete and total disaster working this summer for this place had been, because my bills spun off track in early August, so they were just out of control for basically almost 3 months, and in 3 weeks I fixed it. So that'll give you an idea of how bad things were. I was one of the worst things you could do if you happen to ever decide that you're going to employ somebody, or you're going to be a boss, or you're going to ever be in charge of hiring people. The worst thing you could ever do is just lie to somebody to get them through the door. If tell them the truth, and if they want to take the job, they take the job. If they don't want to take the job, they don't take the job. But don't intentionally misportray what the job position is, because aside from them being upset that you lied to them, they're basing their decision on a idea of what finances they're going to be getting, and if the finances they're getting are in effect like 1/3 of what they were expecting, you're going to cause a lot of problems, a lot of grief. So anyway, we're going to spin the camera around, we'll take a quick look at this stuff, and be right back. All right, so amusingly, first up are these folders and a little paper mache things that we got from HobbyLink Japan. They did a special push during Halloween to ship stuff. Now, I just happened to ship stuff over Halloween because it just was, things were aging out, and so we got these little, thank you for sharing your hobby life with us things that are origami cat faces. It's amusing. And then folder. So for some reason you were supposed to you get either or, and you get if you ship something during this time, which was like the 15th of October through the actual Halloween, you got one of these folders. For some reason, the stuff just came literally today, which gives you an idea how long it took to get here, because I shipped it the 28th of October, so it got here the 24th of 24th, so almost a month. I got 2 of these. So I always like these clear folders. They're handy to have around. I have a whole stack of them from HobbyLink Japan at this point, because I just enjoy getting them. It's just, some goofy thing they do, which makes me amused. So on kit side of things, these 2 just came in this morning, which are like the newest things that I ordered right before the crisis was determined. So these would be, I think, July releases. I think this is what these are. This is the Isuzu Gemini ZZ handling by Lotus version of the Gemini tooling from Hasegawa. It is molded in this sort of dark green color. It has these new wheels and several other new pieces here. I'd have to go look at what all came with this that was new compared to the original kit. But this was it's an interesting car, just in the fact that I know a lot of people paint them whatever color they want to, but this car, as I said, is molded in dark green because this was only available in British Racing Green because of Lotus. And Yeah, dark green. So yeah, it's an, I've shown you guys the other Gemini, so you guys know what is what with that. The other thing that actually showed up today with this was this, which was the next version of the next civilian version of the BMW 2000 Ti. This is the 1968 version. As far as what is new in this compared to the most recent version prior to this, which was the rally version, which of course can also be built as a factory stock vehicle as well, because back in 1960s the rally cars were not terribly far away from the civilian cars anyway, just a roll cage basically, is there are a different set of headrests in this. If you did not buy one of the 1968 or 69 rally versions, then there's a whole bunch of new parts in here that were made specifically for the rally version, but also required for the civilian version. So these wheels are new. The TI logos and the TI trim is new, because you may recall the last civilian version was a TII from 1971 and then the 1973 Turbo. This kit is, at least body-wise, is molded in silver. Everything else in here is molded in white that I can see. Looks like really legitimately everything, which is kind of funny, because usually when they mold something in silver, they'll mold all the body in silver, but only the body, or all the body parts. But I guess there really isn't anything body-wise on here that would be silver, because everything else is chrome trim and stuff like that. So that's in. I did get two sets of decals in. Oops, drop something, don't want to roll over it. Which are Hobby Design decals. One is the Ghost Mile Racing car for 2016. This fits the Tamiya AMG GT3 kit. You can kind of sort of see it through the plastic here. I don't want to drag this out here because it's a pain in the butt, but this builds the Super GT Ghost Mile Racing car. So if you've seen any of the Ghost Mile Racing stuff that I've done in the past, you get the idea what this is going to end up looking like. And then the other sheet of decals is this, which is the 2016 24 Hours of Spa Lincoln Park car. There have been a couple sets of these decals done by various slot car companies. This is the first really commercially produced model version. Again, it's sort of kind of shading through the plastic there. This car is going to be an interesting car to build, just in terms of just getting something done with the body, because the car was chrome wrapped. Now, obviously, the car itself wasn't chrome, but it was chrome wrapped. So it'll be an interesting situation to see what we can do about getting this car painted, plated, something to get it to be chrome. Then all the decals are red. So I'm not sure if legitimately having a chrome plated would be the best option or what, because most of the chrome options that are out there are not particularly durable, and so they don't take clears very well, which is something I feel you would need to put down before you put the decals down, or else your microsol micro set would start to eat the chrome back off. So good to have a set of these that are real in terms of the actual scheme. This is sort of be the front of the car, the back of the car, but painting it would be different. This one, for all of the decals and everything like that, is just a white car. Let's see. Next up, we have the new Tool BMAX 935 Kramer 2 kit. So I had a bunch of these on pre-order, and realized that I probably didn't need a whole bunch of them at one time, because let's face it, I don't build fast enough to justify getting a whole bunch of them at once. So I knocked it down to just one. So that kit, like I said, this is a brand new tool, but this again is what, a July release, June release, something like that. The 2-in-1 decals, you could either do Peter Gregg's car or the green car. Basically, the only difference between the two is the color of the striping. This has a green, red, orange, and this is just an orange and blue color. So your options to build them there. You don't have to put the aero vents on them if the car doesn't require them. These are 1977 German racing division things. I think this is a Nürburgring car, but not the 24 Hours of Nürburgring. One of the other races run at the Nürburgring. And then we also got the detail upset for it. So this is just one of those detail upsets where there's not a whole heck of a lot here that's, very spiffy in the sense of the photo etch, but there are a number of vents and things like that that you realize as you go along that Boy, that would look a lot better with photo etch than it would with the plastic parts. So we went ahead and got the photo etch for it as well. And then in an older shipment that came in a couple weeks ago, we have this, which is the Mitsubishi Colt Galant GTR MR 1971. So this is the what will be a new tool, completely new tool kit. Came out in June, I want to say. I think this is something I shipped before something I shipped in August. So this may be, this is probably a June release. I can look it up, but I'm too lazy to bother. There's actually been a second release of this kit already, so I'm just finally getting the first one in. This kit is body-wise molded in orange, and then the chassis itself and the other body parts, like the rear clip and things like that, are molded in orange as well. Everything else is molded in black. It's a pretty comprehensive set of decals that gives you some interior bits for the seats, a couple different color stripes, so you can paint this more than just orange in terms of the body colors. And overall, it looks like to be a good kit. Hasegawa's been doing some really good stuff lately with these historic cars that they've been choosing, so that seems to be a pretty nice one. And then last but not least, on the kit side of things, is this, which is the recently modified reissue Toyota Alphard kit. So this is, for anybody who remembers, the Velfire van that they did earlier. It was a black van with a much more aggressive front end on it. Although this, everybody, thinks this looks like the Predator, which of course all of the Toyotas do. This is the Alphard. This is the upscale van, so it has a completely different front fascia to it, different wheels. There's also different rear fascia. I believe there's a couple of different interior parts in it. This is supposed to be molded in their so-called white pearl, which to me has no pearl whatsoever. It's just molded in white, which is what I wanted, because now I can paint it, basically whatever color you want to. And as you may notice there, the whole front end of this thing is, separate. The whole back end is separate. The roof rails are separate. This allowed them to tool this into a couple of different vans, a couple of different body styles of the van, and without rerunning whole new tools. So a couple of slide molds here, a couple of slide molds there, and voila, you've had a whole new van. Basically, these are going to be some of your new parts here. There's a new exhaust. I love the fact that the exhaust has Fujimi's name molded into the top of it. I don't know whose brilliant freaking idea that was. Obviously, sanding it off won't be too big of an issue, but still shouldn't be there. I mean, this is a snap-tight kit, so maybe they think they're marketing it more to kids than to real adults. Here's your wheels for this kit. Nothing particularly fancy there. They're just a set of stock Toyota wheels. Most of this kit you guys have seen before when we looked at the Velfire, as the majority of the kit itself, the guts and everything, are all the same. Chassis and all that sort of thing. There is a set of water slide decals for this. And so they're showing all of the Mylar stickers that you get with it, but there is, here it is, a small sheet of water slides in there that has stuff like the logos, the Alphard logos, the nav system, the dash, the wheel centers, and stuff like that. So there is a little bit of adulting in this kit for more serious builders who are looking to do something beyond just snapping together a model kit over the weekend. That kit was also released in a black version, so if you do want to do one that's sort of not painted, that's always that option as well. Alright, so for this last part, I kind of hesitate to even bother with this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Only because I know it'll cause a rift of controversy, because of the of what it is. But back in June, people who remember the Gravity Colors Sojourn will recall that the website was shut down in April, or actually shut down in March, reopened in April. I ordered 3 colors of paint, got them within 3 days, and a little gift certificate for a free bottle, and I put them up here, put a video up, basically putting my reputation out there that mate was back and all was well, and yay Gravity and things like that. Obviously, I got a rash of crap about that at the time, and have gotten every so often a rash of crap about it since then. I think there's a couple of not negative, a couple of realistic, however not positive comments about Gravity Colors in the last couple of days. As a matter of fact, these came in a little while ago. And then I got one last bottle here this week that was out of stock. And so I'm going to show them to you, and I'm going to tell you the story involving them, and we'll let you decide what you want to do from there. So again, the website was shut down in March, reopened in April, was closed again in May, and then reopened June 1st. So at about 2 o'clock in the morning on June 1st, because I work night shift and I'm up and why wouldn't I ordered 5 more bottles of paint. And then the buy one get one free basically coupon code didn't work. So I put a little note in the order form that the get one bottle free code doesn't work, but I will take this bottle of paint for free because we saw this happen 2 years ago, I want to say, with the Ukrainian guys, the Ukrainian scale car production, USCP, where they did a Black Friday sale and created a coupon code for it. However, because of the way their cart was set up, once one person used the coupon code, that was it. You couldn't use another one. My seatbelt material for my Toyota is running away from me. I think that's basically what happened with the Gravity order form. Was basically one person used the one bottle free, and then nobody else got to use it after that. Supposedly that's been fixed. I haven't bothered to look. So I ordered these, like I said, a couple hours after the website reopened in June. So that means I had to be one of the first people to order paint once the website reopened. 3 months went by. 4 months went by. 3 months went by. Now I want to say 3 months went by. Basically about August or so. As it became clear that my finances were not in the best of shape, I wrote to their little chat room that they've added to the website, saying, "Hey, I ordered this paint back in June. I had to be one of the first orders when the website reopened. Why haven't I gotten my paint yet? I need, either refund my money because I could use the $40, or send me the paint that I ordered." And I got a note back from whoever mans their chat feature, because nobody was actually online at the time. You just sort of sent instant messages off into the ether, because emailing them did me absolutely no good whatsoever. And I got them apologizing. It'll get sent out, blah, blah, blah. I got a tracking number, which I think is a story that a lot of us are familiar with. Got the tracking number. And then another entire month went by. So basically the beginning of of September at that point, I opened a PayPal dispute because I wanted my $40 back, because I literally could have used it for gas at that point. And basically saying, a month ago you guys said you were sending me this stuff out. I did not receive it. I have a tracking number, but it has not shipped. It's just printed. It hasn't moved in a month. I need my money back. If you're not going to ship me the paint, so be it. Fine. I don't care. Just give me my money back. And within 24 hours, the paint was on its way and sent. So the colors I got, if it matters to anybody, are the... I have like 2 things in my hand at once, and the camera's not going to focus that way. So let me put some stuff down in the background here so that I can do this. Is the XJR purple, which basically is the color you need for the front end of the Hasegawa kit, obviously, but I have the Tamiya Le Mans version, and that's what I wanted to build for. So I have the purple color for the XJR 8 Le Mans Jaguar. I got the Fjord blue color for the 2002. I got the Colorado orange color for the 2002. And this basically has on it the, with a different set of wheels, mind you, but the car exactly how I want to build the car out of the Rally version, because the Rally version has those big driving headlights. I also got the Gulf Metallic, or the Gulf Pearl Blue, that you need for one of the GTR Longtails, the Davidoff cars. If I can get this to focus, I don't know why. Some of them focus and some of them are not. Why? Are we being great big buttheads here, folks? but you get the idea. It's obviously the center blue color for that car. And then my free bottle of paint was the Porsche Ultraviolet, which I think is just a really cool color. I saw a 911 GT3R at the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix, which I realize is not a vintage car at that point, but the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix in this color, and it is super cool in person, and this will look great on some Porsche at some point. I also ordered and was paying for, as far as I was concerned, a bottle of a different Porsche color. I got, like I said, these in like 3 days after I filed the PayPal dispute. Got a note in the order form that the color that I wanted was out of stock, and so they were sending in temporarily a replacement of this, which is the Flying Lizard Orange, which I guess might look good on like a something, I don't know what. It's just sort of a color that I wouldn't normally have ordered, wouldn't normally have used. I'm not sure who's filling their orders, but I think Mate would have had a better idea what colors I would want other than this one if they're going to send me a bottle of free paint. Basically because this color scheme to use on the Porsche 911 GT3R that Fujimi made requires a set of decals that have been out of production for like 5 years, and they're basically impossible to find. And so there is another set for the RSR GT3 that also is the Flying Lizard Orange, but that requires a $150 trans kit, and so I'm not buying a $150 trans kit, a $30 base kit for a free bottle of paint. So that's there. I don't know. Like I said, this would probably look really good on like a Lamborghini maybe, or something along those lines. It's a little too bright for a Ferrari in my opinion, but there's got to be something that would look good on. And then the story sort of goes from there. There was a note in there saying that we'll send you the Porsche color that you actually ordered when we get it in. And in the back of my mind, I'm not going to lie and say, I was like, yeah, okay, sure. And so without prompting, I will say, without prompting, about 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, I did get the Miami Blue, which was the actual color that I ordered, but they didn't send me because it was out of stock. So I did get it. So, I mean, I did get a free color of paint, even though I really don't care. I did actually get the free color of paint that I wanted, so there's that. And I did get all this paint. So, where does that leave us with the fine folks in Florida? They have been repeatedly asking me to check and see if the one free bottle of paint thing will work again. I have not so far entertained that, only because of the pain in the complete total rear end that it was to get this stuff out of them. You know, a lot of people were like, oh, well, you're friends with Mate, and that's why he sent you the stuff real quick. You have an inside track. I got all sorts of hate, really. Most of it was not on YouTube, but I got all sorts of static and hate about the fact that I got that paint so quick after I ordered it in April. You know, part of it was because I was bragging, and I realized that, but a part of me also hoped that, you know, honest to God, they were really going to do what they were going to do, you know, that they had fixed their issue with everyone getting basically screwed since the end of, 2017 at that point with their things. They had closed the website down, they had fulfilled their orders. I knew there were some that were still outstanding, but, you know, basically the squeakiest wheels got the grease, basically, and they had caught up, and they reopened the website, and then they got behind, and they closed it down, and then they opened it back up again. And I thought that opening and closing, as, you know, frenetic as that might seem to some people, was, you know, a good plan, because at least at that point you had the opportunity to keep up with the orders. The website has never closed back down since the closure in May into June. And of course, no colors have been added to it constantly since then. I personally am really honestly on the fence. I did get it. I had to fight about it. I had to go through like 4 different methods of communications up to and including, you know, getting PayPal involved to get it. But I did get it. And it's still going to be the same quality paint. You know, for some of the stuff that he sells, Samuel at Splash hasn't, you know, duplicated the colors. So there is still some things in terms of projects that I have in mind, that Gravity would still be the place to get the paint from, unless I want to pay to have it custom mixed somewhere else. It's really hard for me to sit around and be all like, yo, I recommend doing what I did, because I really wouldn't recommend doing what I did. I don't think, that was necessary. I did notice that in the video I made about the 3 bottles of paint that I got back in April, that there was a comment from Gravity Color in there suggesting to anyone that if they had any concerns about their order, to file a PayPal complaint or dispute, and they would get their order shipped. That's okay, I guess, but I don't think that's a way to run a business, right? It's not a very appropriate, being one word, but it's not a very appropriate way to run a business, is to be like, hey, did you get your stuff? No. Well, threaten us with without losing our money, and we'll get it to you. So likely will I buy some more Gravity Colors? Probably will, just because I don't think Mate intentionally tries to screw people out of money. I really don't think he's trying to steal from anybody in that sense. I'm not sure what the situation is there. I have not heard from him since 2017. A lot of people were like, hey, you're friends with Mate, tell him I want this order. You guys missed the part in the video where I said I don't talk to him, so I don't have his ear. We were friends at one point. I did talk to him on a regular basis, but ever since he dropped off of Facebook in the mid to late fall of 2017, I haven't spoken to him. So it's been almost a year since I've talked to him. I can't be your secret backdoor, because I was not a secret backdoor. I was very pleased to get the 3 bottles of paint in 3 days. I was very excited, and came online and told everybody, Shazam, Shazah, Hala, I got this paint, because I thought that the situation had been resolved. Clearly, it has not been. Whether or not you feel that it's worth ordering paint and then having to effectively PayPal dispute the transaction to get your paint is worth your time is completely and totally up to you. I'm not defending this system anymore. I have nothing to say about it. I know that the Gravity guys in Spain are shipping to the United States. I see some people are using that option. I've seen that has certainly brought about more and more varied stories about what had actually gone down when Gravity split into the 2 companies. Clearly, May dug his own hole, so he really can't. If the people in Spain want to tell a story, they're basically going to be able to tell a story now, and there's nothing that Mate's going to be able to do to sort of dissuade that, because if you're not fulfilling your orders effectively without people basically threatening to demand their money back, you don't really have a leg to stand on in terms of being all like, well, that's not what happened and blah, blah, blah. So, I don't know. It's totally up to you what you do with this paint company. If you don't ever want to speak to them again, and you don't ever want to see them again, and you don't ever want to deal with them again, that is totally your prerogative. And to be perfectly honest with you, I wouldn't blame you one little bit about it, because, it is what it is in that sense. I did get what I ordered after fighting about it for a while. None of these colors, and I know I'm going to get ecstatic about this, were stuff for things that I was about to do. So, I'm not out money. I'm not really out time, and, it is what it is in that sense. So, before I say something that gets everybody all jammed up and butthurt again about ordering paint in advance, I'm not going to say that just simply because ordering this paint in advance is ridiculous at this point. It takes 5 months to get it, and you have to fight about it. So, anyway, I just want to say that I got some more. That's basically it. Good, bad, or indifferent. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys on the other side.